Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Simisola Smith. I am the Regional Manager for Africa at the Berlin School of Business and Innovation, and have a very good friend and colleague with me online today. His name is Nelson, and he'll be acting as my translator for this presentation, and he'll be translating in French.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Like she rightly said, I'm Nelson, Bo Nelson. I'm her colleague here, although I'm based in Cameroon. I work with ECHO. So I'll act like a translator, as she said. So the moment. So I just wanted to take this time to introduce myself in English first before I will still introduce myself in French, yeah, because that is why
Then
I'm here.
I panicked. I panicked. I said, "Oh, no." I said, "Oh." Carry on, Nelson, don't mind me.
Comme j'ai dit en anglais, je m'appelle Nelson, je travaille avec ECHO et Simisola, c'est une partenaire à nous. Donc, on est basé au Cameroun. Donc, je serai là pour faire la traduction en français. Donc, quand elle va parler en anglais, je veux faire la traduction en français pour que tout le monde puisse bien participer. Donc, merci.
Perfecto. Is that correct? Great. Okay, so we're going to go straight ahead. So we are the Berlin School of Business and Innovation. I hope, Nelson, you can also see my screen, because if you can't see my screen, that means the participants can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So today's webinar is on succeeding in your CELT exams. So that's English as your second language exams. And it's really important because most of you on here would be from francophone aspects of Africa.
Donc, le séminaire de ce soir, c'est pour nous guider comment écrire nos examens en anglais pour bien assurer une position dans les écoles en anglais dans plusieurs pays que l'équipe de Simisola représente ici en Afrique. Donc, comme on a beaucoup de gens qui viennent de pays qui parlent le français comme nous ici au Cameroun, mais on est un pays bilingue, donc cette présentation ce soir ou ce séminaire, c'est pour seulement parler de comment réussir les examens pour avoir... Donc, c'est simplement comment réussir les examens, simplement.
Thank you. So, so today we'll be talking about testing options. So options are available to you, tips and tricks on how to succeed in your language test, how to enhance your English language knowledge. We'll also talk about how to prepare for success as well. And it would not be complete unless we also talk about BSBI as an institution, because the hope is that as we encourage you to improve on your English language, you would apply to the Berlin School of Business and Innovation. So we would spend the last few minutes of this webinar to talk about the Berlin School of Business and Innovation. And you can ask questions and answers, and we will have a question and answer session afterwards.
Okay. L'ordre du jour, on va commencer avec les différentes options du test. Il y aura les conseils et les astuces, comment améliorer vos connaissances et votre confiance en anglais avec la langue, comment se préparer pour succéder, nos différents partenaires, les partenaires et les programmes académiques. Et à la fin, on aura aussi le temps pour demander les questions et on va répondre aux différentes questions.
Thank you. Once again, I'm Simisola Smith. I'm the regional manager for Africa at the Berlin School of Business, and I'm joined in the introductions earlier. So I'll just go straight to the presentation right away. So international students applying for programs taught in English must provide a proof that they are English, so that you have the necessary English skills to understand academic writing, produce scholarly writing, and communicate effectively with your supervisor. So here is an overview of four mostly used English language proficiency tests. So there's TOEFL. A number of you would have heard about TOEFL. There's the IELTS exams. There is the CAE, the CPEs. There's even more. There's PTs as well. The CAEs, CPEs are less popular than the IELTS and TOEFL. For us at BSBI, we usually focus on the PT exams, the IELTS, and our password test.
Ok, les étudiants qui postulent pour les programmes internationaux doivent se préparer à montrer, à fournir la preuve qu'ils parlent l'anglais dans le cadre de leurs applications. Cela garantit qu'ils avoir les compétences en anglais nécessaires pour comprendre l'académique, écrit, produire des écrits et communiquer efficacement avec les superviseurs. Voici une aperçu de 4 tests compétents en anglais lors les plus largement acceptés. Donc, comme Simisola a dit, il y a TOEFL, il y a IELTS, il y a le K et il y a le CPE. Mais les deux qui nous donnent plus de points sont le TOEFL et le IELTS. So,
great. So these are the testing options I mentioned. So we've already said TOEFL, the CA, which is a Certificate of Advanced English, the CPE, which is a Certificate of Proficiency in English, the IELTS, which is International English Language Testing System. And I did say the password test. So the password test, I'll just allow Nelson, overview this before I talk about the password test.
Donc, comme elle disait, les différentes options de test, il y a le test d'anglais en tant qu'étranger, ça c'est TOEFL, il y a le Cambridge certificat de niveau avancé, ça c'est le CAE, et il y a le Cambridge certificat de compétences en anglais. Et pour IELTS, l'anglais international, test de langue de système. Donc, elle a aussi parlé du password test, mais elle va d'abord nous parler du password test avant que je peux continuer avec la traduction.
Great. So the password test is quite unique in itself. So if any of you might be francophone originally, but there might be some of you who would have studied your formal education in English, even though your first language is French. So if you have done your formal education in English and you have a good command of the English language, rather than going through any of those other tests, you can write our internal test, but you must be able to prove that you have studied your formal education, at least from higher education in English, for the password test to be valid.
Donc, simplement, ce qu'elle vient de dire, c'est si vous voulez faire vos études en anglais, vous devez passer ce password test pour bien démontrer que vous pouvez parler en anglais, parce que parler, c'est aussi communiquer avec vos professeurs et vos camarades, bien écrire l'anglais et aussi écouter l'anglais, parce que c'est comme j'ai dit, l'étude c'est en anglais, donc vous devez montrer preuve de bien parler, bien écouter et bien écrire la langue.
Great. Okay, so the recommended tests we have, or we request students to do at BSBI, are number one, the IELTS. So The duration for that is usually 3 hours. Some of you may already be practicing this, so may be familiar. The format is choice questions, diagram labeling, matching, short answers, sentence completion. Then you do speaking in person in presence of an examiner. Sections include listening, which lasts for 40 minutes, reading, which lasts for 60 minutes, writing, which lasts for 11 to 4, and the cost for that is 250 USD. So over to you, Nelson.
Donc, le premier test, c'est height. Ça a une durée de 3 heures de temps. Le format, mélange de choix multipliés, étiquetage de diagramme, de correspondance, courte réponse et achèvement de la phrase. Parler en personne dans la présence d'un examinateur. Donc, les différentes sections sont, il y a l'écoute pour 40 minutes, il y a la lecture pour 60 minutes, il y a l'écriture pour 60 minutes. Et en parlant, c'est entre 11 et 14 minutes. Donc, le prix de ça, c'est $250. Et pour plus d'informations sur ça, il y a plusieurs bureaux de tests locaux dans nos pays différents. Donc, il faut contacter ces différents bureaux pour plus d'informations.
Great. So the other test I wouldn't dwell too much on because I've already mentioned what that is. What I would say about the password test, because if you opt that option, right, you would have to email us directly to request for that. But it will send you all the information that you need. Like I said, the most important thing you need to know about writing password test is you should have already been or have studied formally in English at some point during your academic career. And it's, it's more, students pick it because it's also more reasonable in terms of cost. So it's just $45 in
Donc, l'autre test, c'est le password test, ce qu'on recommande à BSBI. Mais pour plus d'informations sur le password test, il faut contacter directement le bureau de BSBI pour plus d'informations. Mais comme elle a dit plus tôt, là, c'est seulement, il faut avoir montré preuve que vous avez étudié un peu en anglais et le bureau de BSBI va connaître comment vous orienter sur les prochaines étapes à faire pour prendre le password test. Et là aussi, comme vous voyez sur l'écran, elle a mis la durée du test. C'est aussi comme le height. C'est 3 heures et 5 minutes. Et le format, il y a l'écriture, il y a la lecture, il y a aussi parler avec un examinateur et il y a aussi l'écoute. Donc, c'est presque, c'est la même. L'écriture, c'est 60 minutes.
Okay. Thank you for that. So now we'll go into tips and tricks because I think what happens with students is sometimes you panic, you worry. So I've come up with some tips and tricks that I feel will be helpful for you when you're, doing your practice for the English test exam. So you have to divide your time equally because there are different components, like we've said. It's important for you to immerse yourself in the language, regularly, day to day. I was speaking to Nelson this morning, and I was, we were playing about with some French, and I said to him I was in French school for a little bit, but I wish that maybe I had some time to, go to a country that French was the language or the main language, at least for 6 months. It helped. So if you have friends and family who have a very strong command of the language, please, even though you feel that, oh, you're not saying what's right or what makes sense, before you know it, start picking stuff up. If you have colleagues or lecturers, someone that you can communicate with in English, that's a very good recommendation. So that leads to point number 3, which is find a language buddy. You can also use language exchange platforms. So all those things are on Google. You can just Google language exchange platforms. You can put free language exchange platform and something might come up. So you can actually buddy up with someone online who maybe is willing to learn French and maybe they're an English speaker as well. I didn't put any recommendations only because I haven't tried it myself. So it'd be wrong for me to recommend what I haven't tried. So that's why I've left it to to you as the student to look for one. At least you know in your head now. A lot of people don't know that there are websites like that that can offer them that sort of support. So you can use vocabulary revision tools. I mean, Google language is very good for that. So making sure that what you're saying, you can type it, like type, that's Google Translate, sorry. So you can type what you think the English is and it can translate it to you, back to you in French, see if it makes sense to you in French. So if it makes sense to you in French, it means, okay, maybe, getting you're improving. Of course, there are apps and games, App Store. If you're an Android user, you go to the marketplace and you pick up on free apps as well. Reading is important. Reading, when I say reading, not necessarily learning the reading component of the exam, but reading like books. We can read novels or things you find interesting, comedy or anything of that sort. Get to grips with the grammar. Grammar is important, and also keep a working dictionary. So make sure you always have a dictionary with you so you can translate. Of course, dictionaries are now online. So it could be an e-dictionary as well. Again, practice, practice, practice. Practice is important. Not just practice, but make sure you time yourself. Over to you, Nelson.
Ici, on nous donne les conseils et les astuces comment se bien préparer pour écrire les différents tests que nous allons choisir en anglais. Donc, comme elle disait, je vais lire les différents conseils qu'on a ici. On doit diviser notre temps également pour bien apprendre. Parce que quand je parlais avec elle le matin, elle me disait qu'elle n'a pas bien appris la langue parce qu'elle n'avait pas le temps. Donc, elle voyage, elle travaille, elle a des choses différentes à faire. Donc, ce n'est pas tout le monde qui a la chance d'être bilingue comme les pays, comme un peu de pays dans le monde entier. Donc, c'est seulement, on doit seulement diviser notre temps bien si on veut bien écrire et passer la langue, les tests pour la langue. Il faut qu'on se mette aussi dans la langue, dans la vie dans nos vies de tous les jours. Donc, si je décide que je veux pratiquer la langue française et c'est seulement à l'école ou seulement sur le net que je veux pratiquer et je ne mets pas ça en pratique dans ma vie, donc je ne peux pas bien savoir ce que je suis en train d'apprendre. Il faut aussi trouver un copain, comme oui, quelqu'un que vous pouvez dialoguer ensemble. Si moi je vais apprendre le français, je cherche quelqu'un qui est bon en français et moi je suis anglophone, je parle à la personne en anglais, la personne me répond en français ou même on parle en français où j'ai fait les erreurs, il me corrige et au final on constate que deux personnes apprennent deux langues différentes. Donc, comme j'ai dit en haut, il faut utiliser la langue comme plateforme d'échange. Il faut réviser les vocabulaires, applications dans les jeux. Il faut aussi lire les lectures. Il faut garder un travail dictionnaire pour nous aider. Il faut nous familiariser avec les termes qu'on va utiliser dans la langue qu'on est en train de pratiquer. Et au final, il faut pratiquer chronomètre. Donc, parce que quand on écrit les différents examens, surtout en anglais, parce que moi aussi j'ai pris ça, il faut on connaît comment bien utiliser notre temps, parce qu'on ne nous donne pas beaucoup de temps, donc il faut bien utiliser le temps. Ça compte aussi, surtout en écoute. Donc ça, ce sont les petits conseils qu'on peut vous donner, comment nous bien préparer pour écrire les différents tests de la langue anglaise.
Great. Thank you, Nelson. Just a very, we can see someone from the back end raising their hand. Jean is asking, how is the program designed? So that's in the question box. So because I want to be able to interact with the participants as we go, maybe that will be helpful. So how, Jean is asking, I hope I pronounced it well. How is the program designed? He's doing the English language test, and how would he apply to the business school in Berlin? So Jean, great. I would like to know the kind of test you're doing. Just great to know if you type that out and let us know which one of the tests you've decided to do. Because I can see your English looks quite good. You're written English, so you seem to be on a good line. So if you could also drop, we do have your email address, so we would send you an email after this from my colleague Blessing. She will send you application procedures. Well, it would also be nice for us to know if you could type it also in the question box, the program you are also interested to study. So Lausu doesn't need to translate that because it's for Jean, and it's in particular to Jean. And he seems to understand English as well. So I'll go to Vital, who raised up his hand. So Vital, I'm going to unmute you now for you to ask your question, please. Hello? Okay, I'm going to have to mute you back. Vital, okay, maybe translate. Now see if you translate, maybe he doesn't know I'm talking to him. If you just tell Vital that I want to unmute him because he raised up his hand, for him to ask the question.
What's the name, please?
Vital. Sehusa.
Vital.
Sehusa.
Vital.
Yes, I can hear you. So if you just say in French that I want to unmute him because I don't think he knows that I'm referring to him. So I think he has his television on. So I want to unmute him for him to ask a question because he raised up his hand.
Okay, okay. Vital, vous demandez une question, mais c'est comme si votre téléviseur derrière vous est allumé. Donc, si vous pouvez éteindre le téléviseur et vous demander encore votre question pour qu'on vous aide.
Okay, so I'm going to try and unmute Vital now. Hopefully he got that.
Oh.
So Vital, are you there?
Sorry, yes, I'm here.
Good.
Okay.
Please proceed with your question.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, we're all ears.
As you presented the different types of tests, of English tests, now I would like to know, like an advisor, which one of them you can advise someone who want to take a test, like for studies purpose.
Okay, thank you for that question. Can I ask you, have you done any formal education in English?
Yeah.
Okay, which one?
Like in my secondary school, I studied in French, but in the university, I took my bachelor degree in English.
Oh, beautiful. In that case,
Yeah.
you can do the password test. So you don't need to do the other test. So the password test is internal to BSBI for students who have already studied formally in English. It's more cost effective. It's just $45 in comparison to IELTS that goes up to $250. So I mean, I'll be more than happy to share all that information. I'm sure you're planning to apply to us. So what I would say is if you can, send me a private message, or send, put your email on the question panel, so we can send you the application procedures, because you can only write our own test if you're applying to us. Okay, so for the benefit of time, for me to be able to, go one-to-one with you, we will be able to contact you one-to-one and support you with an application. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll be in touch with you in the next couple of days. So I'll just note your name, and we will be in touch with you to further explain, so we can proceed with the with the presentation. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so just going through it very quickly, bearing in mind that, we are saying the English version and we're also translating simultaneously at the same time. So it's important for you to divide your time. So you have to avoid last minute preparations. You have to do something each day. So the things you need to do, you have to familiarize yourself with words and phrases. Give yourself enough time. TV is also a good way to relax. Watching TV in English, through the gestures, you might be able to tell what they are saying verbally. Think in English when you're, doing something. Think in English, and like I said earlier, engage with English speakers and go through questions. Over to you, Nelson.
Ok, le premier point sur nous, qu'on a ici, c'est de diviser votre temps. Bon, pour bien se préparer, il faut éviter les préparatifs des dernières minutes. Faites quelque chose chaque jour. Faites des choses que vous aimez, des mots. Il faut utiliser les mots familiers que vous êtes familier avec. Soyez critique envers vous-même et soyez ouvert à rétroaction constructive. Dans l'Internet, la télévision et la radio, on peut aussi bien visionner des programmes en anglais ou écouter aux différents programmes ou lire. Il faut aussi penser en anglais, s'intégrer avec des anglophones natifs et poser beaucoup de questions. Regardez aussi des questions passées le test que vous décidez de prendre.
Okay, so thank you for that, Nelson. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Great, good. Right. The next point is, like I said, immerse yourself in the language. Have a favorite movie, favorite artist, the radio station that you like. Particularly listening and speaking would be useful for you in those exams. Over to you, Nelson.
Le prochain point, c'est nous immerger dans le programme. Donc, il faut embrasser la langue dans tous les jours de notre vie. On peut visionner nos films préférés en anglais, écouter nos artistes préférés en anglais, même les diffusions de stations de radio, on peut écouter toutes nos diffusions en anglais. Ça va bien nous aider pour bien progresser, et bien se préparer pour prendre ce test.
Okay, thank you very much. So just going through the presentation, we have a couple of things to go through. So like I said earlier, learn with friends, learn online, and make sure you use revision tools, translate as you go, use apps and games. So I'll go back very quickly with regards to the because there's some examples I'm giving out here. So regards learning online, these are some ways you can improve your speaking and reading skills. So this is I Talk I and Speaky. So there are apps where also language meetups where you can make new friends and interact. Over to you, Nelson.
Ok, ça continue avec les points pour bien améliorer notre langue en anglais. Il faut apprendre aussi avec des amis. C'est un point qu'on a donné en haut. Avec des partenaires, il faut avoir des partenaires d'études, il faut être bien motivé, s'exercer à parler et mise en place de rédaction de tâches qu'on peut faire pour bien progresser. dans la langue. Être les collègues au travail, même les gens qu'on voit, si on retrouve quelqu'un, si on voit quelqu'un en route qui parle en anglais et je suis francophone, il faut faire l'effort de parler en anglais avec la personne. Ça va, en écoutant aussi ce que la personne dit, ça nous fait bien progresser.
Revision tools, you can use flashcards, you can use flash ticks, but make sure you translate as you go. It really helps to absorb it. Over to you, Nelson.
Oui, et les vocabulaires, on parle aussi des vocabulaires, donc des outils de révision. On peut avoir les cartes flash et les clés USB où on a nos vidéos dedans, ou les vidéos qu'on regarde en anglais pour bien s'améliorer. Il y a toujours les vidéos, comme on dit en anglais, les subtitles, où peut-être on parle en français et on écrit en anglais, ou on parle en anglais et on écrit en français. Les choses comme ça aussi nous aident bien à bien comprendre la langue.
Okay, apps and games. These are some really good ones. I've already said I talk I for speaking practice. Word referencing. This is good for translating new words really quickly. Flash Academy is basically little ways of revising topics using fun games. So using fun and games to learn language is actually a good way of learning a language.
Ici, on parle des applications et des jeux. Ici, c'est aussi bien pour faire progresser notre anglais, mais parce que quand on écrit, quand on apprend les choses comme ça, ce n'est pas seulement pour écrire, pour passer le test et voyager et faire nos études. C'est aussi bien que on connaît aussi bien la langue, parce que ce que moi je connais, l'anglais, c'est une langue de référence qu'on utilise partout, même si on part peut-être dans un pays où peut-être la première langue là-bas, ce n'est pas le français, ou ce n'est même pas l'anglais. Il y a comme en Afrique du Sud où on a le Swahili, par exemple. Donc, les choses comme ça, on peut bien pratiquer l'anglais. Si tu pars en Afrique du Sud et tu veux bien t'en sortir, tu peux aussi utiliser l'anglais que tu as appris pour t'en sortir. Donc, c'est de la même chose aussi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on very quickly. So how to prepare? Just again, read. Make sure you familiarize yourself with grammar. We've said that earlier. So now I'm going to go into BSBI as an institution to summarize that. We'll be in touch with you to talk about the programs we offer and how to apply sort of on a one-to-one basis. The questions are still open, so if you want to ask questions, feel free to use the raise hand button on your webinar platform, or you can send a question into the question panel box. So you should know a little bit about BSBI, who we are, because we've been here talking to you about excelling in your language test, because it's very important for you to excel in that. I mean, we've had a lot of students who have been, interested in the Berlin School of Business and Innovation from the Francophone countries, but, they might have passed everything else academically, but unfortunately, when they come to the English test, they don't do well enough for them to join us, So that's been something that we are hoping to improve. And, myself and my colleagues are always on ground to provide any additional support you might want. So BSBI, we have a wide range of partnerships, and I'll talk about the offers and the kind of support we offer as well. Over to you, Nelson.
Bon, maintenant, on va parler de l'institution BSBI. Elle va nous montrer les différents partenaires commerciaux que l'école a et comment BSBI aide les élèves à bien s'intégrer dans une nouvelle vie, je peux dire, et comment bien se préparer aussi pour la prochaine étape.
Okay. So these are the range of partners we have. I wouldn't go through all of them. In fact, I'll just leave this slide up. You can just use your eyes to have a glance about what each of them, you know, wanted, who are they are, and just for knowledge. Just so you just have a summary, they would range from accommodation providers, from academic partnerships as well. So that's what I would say about this. Over to you, Nelson.
Before we continue, I think your screen, the list of partners.
Okay. You can't see it properly.
Yes, I think.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not gonna. I said I'm not gonna list each of them, because they're quite a number. All they need to know is these are our partners, and they range from, you know, accommodation providers, financial institutions, and academic partners.
OK. Donc, les différents partenaires, vous allez, si vous partez sur le site, vous allez voir les différents partenaires, mais ce qu'il y a à savoir, c'est qu'il y a les partenaires qui vont, qui reçoivent les élèves, il y aura les partenaires pour chercher les maisons pour les gens pour habiter. Il y a les partenaires qui conseillent, qui nous guident à faire les bonnes décisions quand on s'intègre avec BSBI. Donc, elle va nous montrer, je ne sais pas si elle va nous montrer la liste, mais il y a les différents partenaires que BSBI a pour les choses que j'ai citées et il y a d'autres choses aussi que si vous partez sur le net, sur le site de BSBI, ou vous informer vous approchez vers Simisola ou moi-même. Parce que à ECHO, on travaille aussi avec BSBI. On va bien vous informer.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so we have the University of Creative Arts as an academic partner. Concordia University Chicago is an academic partner, and the Università Telematica International ZNL. So I just say Uninetuno, okay? So over to you, Nelson.
Elle a cité 3 différentes universités qu'ils ont. Donc, université, je ne sais pas si je vais traduire en français aussi, mais il y a University for the Creative Arts. Il y a Concordia University in Chicago et il y a Università Telematica International. Ça, c'est en Italie. Donc, voilà les 3 universités qu'elle a citées. Et pour plus d'informations sur ça, sur le site de BSBI, vous pourrez avoir plus d'informations sur ça.
So we have a range of programs. Like I said, we'll be in touch with as many of you as possible to support you with your application procedures. So in partnership with the University of Creative Arts, we have foundation and undergraduate programs in business and management, in digital marketing and social media, in tourism and hospitality management. Over to you, Nelson.
Pour le University of Creative Arts, il y a business and management. Je suis sûr que beaucoup d'entre nous connaissent ce qu'on dit business and management, comme le business et comment bien contrôler notre business. Ça, c'est pour la licence. C'est un programme de 3 ou 4 ans avec une fondation à la route internationale. Il y a aussi digital marketing et social media. On est dans une époque où on utilise beaucoup le net et on utilise le net pour nos business différents. Donc, il y a aussi des programmes pour connaître comment bien faire le marketing en ligne en utilisant les différents réseaux sociaux et comment vivre les différents réseaux sociaux et comment avoir une bonne stratégie de marketing en ligne. Donc, ce programme, c'est un programme qui va de il y a 3 ans ou 4 ans, et il y a aussi Tourism and Hospitality Management. C'est aussi la même chose, c'est un programme de 3 à 4 ans.
Thank you. Also in partnership, postgraduate programs. For UCA, we have Global MBA, which is 18 months, a Master's in Tourism, Hospitality, and Events Management, also for 18 months, a Master's in Finance and Investment, also for 18 months, and a Master's in Digital Marketing. In collaboration with CUC, we have a 2-year MBA program and a Master's in Entrepreneurship and Innovation, also for 2 years. Then in partnership with Uninet Tuno for the postgraduate programs is an MSc in International Health Management for 18 months and a doctorate in Business Administration for 4 years. Just if you are interested in a PhD, you must note that you must have already an undergraduate and a master's program. Okay, over to you, Nelson.
Donc, pour les programmes de master à UCA, at the University of Creative Arts, il y a un programme de Global MBA. MBA, comment c'est Masters in Business Administration. Ça, c'est un programme de 18 mois. Et il y a un Master en Tourism, Hospitality et Event Management, c'est toujours 18 mois. Il y a Finance et Investment, 18 mois. Et il y a Digital Marketing.
Okay, I think Nelson may have had some connection issues. I'm even proud that it's lasted for this long. I mean, without any interruptions, which is good. We're almost done with the presentation, so hopefully he can join us before we end. Just for information's sake, I'll run through what the tuition fees are very quickly. So undergraduate programs, the foundation program is 6,000 euros. And the other programs, in terms of the main programs, 8,000 euros per year. Our postgraduate programs range between 10,300 euros for 18 months and could go up to 14,000 euros for the partnership program with CUC for 2 years. And so all the fees I'm quoting is for the entire program duration for the masters, okay? 10,300 to 14,000 euros. The doctorate in business administration is 12,500 euros per year. The minimum deposit for all our programs, undergraduate, postgraduate, is 2,000 euros. It will be interesting for you to know that we do have a number of academic scholarships currently running. So if you are interested and you have a very good degree and good grade, please reach out to me, and we can proceed as soon as possible. Okay. So I'm just gonna throw the question open. I'm really hoping that whoever asks the question would verbally ask that in English. So fingers crossed. So this question and answer sessions, if you have any questions, please either raise your hand using the question panel, or sorry, raise up your hand using the hand icon, raise hand icon, or you can raise your hand, or you can put the question in the panel. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? I'll leave a minute for you to think if you have any particular questions. Okay, thank you very much in that case. For those of you who reached out, basically sending me private messages, we would be in touch with you post the webinar because you need one-to-one support. So we will feel free to, we will definitely reach out to you during the course of the week. Okay. So please make sure you be near your phones or your emails or anything like that, so we can be able to support you with all that. Right. So if there are no questions, I will want to thank you so much for your time, spending the evening with us. I'd like to thank Nelson as well. To say also my colleague Blessing is somewhere in the dark. So some of you may have interacted with Blessing at some point during the week. So Blessing will most likely be in touch with the gentlemen who have sent me private messages. All right, and we will be able to support you. If by any chance you are shy and don't want to ask a question over the presentation, I am putting in my email. I'm sending it to everyone. So you can send me a private message to my email address to ask your specific questions. But if there are no questions, I want to thank you once again for joining the webinar. And I look forward to receiving as many inquiries and definitely your application processes and many, many successes in your IELTS exam over the next, the English test exam that you choose to write. So thank you again, wherever part of the world you are. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you.